Yeah, hey, you made me sick.
Wow. Good evening, everybody. I don't know how to follow that. This is Beyond the Buzzer because I'm not completely thrown because of Dr. Evil.
$1 million.
1 million reasons. This is edition for January 20th, 2021. I'm your host, James Thompson, checking with you live. I am a senior NBA writer for the 3pointconversion.com, covering the Charlotte Hornets, as well as the host of the show. For the next hour, myself and to the man to the right of me, through the 3-point conversions own UCF, covering the UCF Knights, as well as other things. The student of the game himself, Mr. Kyle Nash. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, Danny Thompson? The man who tries to tell me he's garden variety and then drops his credentials with a longer list than something that's on frickin' Santa's watch list during Christmas time. You know how many names are on Santa's list?
Obviously longer than our
1 million names. Anyways.
Well, you know what though? Let me tell you who's worth more than 1 million. Our good friends over at Valor, which is at VALOUR.us. Check them out for everything marketing, gifts, music, everything you want to know about how to make your business grow. That's the place you want to go. Check them out at It's Valor, its.VALOR.us. Tell Jay we said what's up when you go talk to him. Also, when you need to get a haircut, not this one, but we need to get a haircut, go check out our good friends at Mentality Barbershop, 2611 North Pine Hills Road in Orlando, Florida. Check Corey out and tell him we sent you and talk trash about Florida State because everybody else does.
So fresh is so clean, unless you're a Mackenzie Milton fan, but I digress.
You know what, Kyle? You know what? Since you brought Mackenzie Milton,
yes.
I really don't do this. We don't really start like college football and non-college football season, but Kyle's been drinking over this because this has been a weird week for UCF fans, and it's not only affecting the program over in that little American Conference school in Orlando, but it's also now infiltrated the SEC. Obviously, Tennessee can't get things done, so obviously Tennessee had to go find somebody who can get it done. Forrest Gump, I hate you.
I don't know much, Rodney, but I do know what a troll is. You are that.
I got 7 million ways to cook fried panther. It's called losses, bad quarterbacking play, players who think mascots are bears instead of panthers. I can continue with this all night.
So does Bubba in the movie. And I'll tell you this, when the check clears for all the royalties you pay for the schmack that you talk, I'll give the check to Precious if you're not there to collect it. I'm there for you, dog. We're fam. Anyway.
I appreciate it. Just like Rodney in the chat, Big Shots on Construction. If you are watching the show on Facebook Live, by all means, or YouTube, share it, like it, share, tag, tell all your friends. And no, Rodney, here's the thing. We got there. And speaking of things that choke, didn't John Casey do that in the Super Bowl? I didn't forget about that.
Don't go back to the Super Bowl. Didn't Clemson choke in these past playoffs? And
no. So he wants to bring up the Falcons. Here's the one thing that Panther fans forget. At least our kicker didn't kick it out of bounds and put Tom Brady in the 40-yard line with under a minute to go in the Super Bowl.
I mean, God, that there was too many touchdowns. Both defenses were awful in that game. That was weird.
But here's the thing, though. What kicker kicks it out of bounds?
No, I get it, Casey, out of bounds. You're right. I'm thinking about that game again, man. I'll tell you this. What kind of a group lets Jake Delhomme participate in a shootout with Tom Brady? What's that all about?
Listen, anyway. Jake Delhomme had like Bojangles moments. He was doing stuff over the cliff, with Dukes of Hazzard and Steve Smith. But you know what, Kyle? And your defensive coordinator didn't call 4 quarters of football in the BCS semifinal game either. But I digress. All right. Speaking of college football, thank you, Rodney. Let's talk college football, Kyle, because the big news in college football this week is not only the attention was taken away from the Senior Bowl this week, because a major change happened in the SEC. Not only did UCF's athletic director Danny White jumped ship to Tennessee. He took UCF's head coach as well too.
And
Josh
it's
Heupel
starting
now
to form up as to add into that, Danny Thompson. It's starting to form up as more news comes in that the offensive coaching staff is leaving with him, a la Scott Frost, after the 2017 season and early 2018.
Kyle, make this make sense to me. Because you're the guy that is on the ground with UCF on a regular basis. You cover for the 3-point conversion. You've been covering them literally before UCF even was known to people. When they were Central Florida, you covered them then. So make this make sense to me. Why would Tennessee go after Danny White and then go Josh Heupel? And then if you're a UCF fan, alum, how confused are you by this, or are you happy that he's gone?
Well, and actually, it's very interesting you bring that up. So there's a number of things to attack here, and you got a lot to you put on the table. For one, though I am an alum, I've never really considered myself a UCF fan of the Athletics, whatever they're. Unlike a lot of alums, I have proven in some of my stuff in the past where I have gotten the proverbial hate text, social media, and mails on some of my takes. That I have no problem being unbiased here. First off, if you're Tennessee and you're trying to find a way to stay relevant in a probation year, right? The best way to do that is to control narrative and find as many positive things to take people's mind off the fact that you were a program in probation. Similar challenge may be to take the minds of people off the fact that you just went 0 for 12 the season in, say, 2015, shortly before one Danny White arrived. Listen, I can give you all sorts of reasons why Danny White is a good hire and what he's done for UCF as a program, right? For people like Clay Travis are out there who are complaining about Danny White, you're an raging idiot who has no idea what you're talking about. These are people that talk about UCF claiming a championship, even though the Collin Matrix, whether you like it or not, whether it's fair or not, put them there, okay? That's all sides. So if you're willing to listen to actual reasons he's there, here's what it is. For one, people don't know that Danny White, the entire athletic program, I can't speak necessarily for like Tiddlywinks or anything like that, but I heard even the crew team did better under athletics. Every major sport and some of the non-major ones were winning more and had more achievement under Danny White during his tenure. Period. Case closed. Story. If that's not enough, fine. UCF on the media stage and in the national picture has been more relevant than ever before. Listen, in 2017, they had been branded UCF for some time, but to Danny's point, only lately when they had the undefeated season where they dropped Auburn in the Peach Bowl, have people actually properly referred to them in their 3-letter moniker that's preferred, although I might have some people that we're very close to that didn't remember it at all times. That's a whole other conversation. What I'm trying to get to is this, Danny Thompson. Danny White belongs in a big place, in a big school to have respect. But Rocky Top would be a tough job for anybody. Now, to the Heupel part of the conversation. Whether it's fair or correct or not, in a lot of cases it's really not, the UCF fans have done a lot of time hating on their own coach more than anybody else. What do you got, Blackjack? Oh, hi, Precious. That's why he came in. Danny White is obviously the good choice. Now, Josh Heupel, there are people debating whether or not that is a good choice or bad, both amongst the Tennessee and UCF fanhoods. People I've talked to, former players that are closer to it, explain to me something that I didn't necessarily have. And to be honest, I didn't want to ask while he was still there just to avoid, being that reporter. Besides, that's a whole other thing. But the sources I talked to, former players for the team, referred to him as the players kind of thought that he was a dweeb and that the coaching staff was kind of the dumb cousins of what Coach Scott Frost was doing. Now, I'm not here to tell you that the performance on the field necessarily matched that or whatever, but there's a lot of other factors that come into play. I don't know if you got any more questions, Danny, but that's where I'll leave it for the moment.
I think Heupel left UCF at a 28-8 record. The first year they literally was one injury away from probably winning that New Year's Six-Day Bowl game. The second year, this year was nothing but struggle. We saw in Colin games, UCF should have won, and maybe 3 of those games they lost, at least 3 of those games, because of either dumb circumstances, they couldn't stop holding or creating penalties, or it was a combination of the offense playing well and the defense playing worse in those games. Now, the thing is, Heupel was a solid recruiter. He wasn't Scott Frost when it came to recruiting, and Heupel did win with a lot of Scott Frost players. Let's be honest here.
In 18, that's true, right?
He won, and then he finally got his crew in, and it didn't turn out the way that UCF fans wanted. The real question for me, Kyle, is this the job Josh Heupel should be taking at this point? Because, like you mentioned before, this isn't the American Conference you're walking in the door. You're walking into Rocky Top, and Rocky Top hasn't been good. Like what Tennessee fans have been expecting since T. Martin.
I'll put it this way. If you're Josh Heupel, the reason why you made this move is to prolong your efforts in being a head coach, right? Because if next year things weren't made to happen, then the fan base would have given him 4 years, right? And even though I can probably assume that he's going to make it to a bowl game again, especially with, I'll put it this way, especially with Dillon Gabriel. Say what you will about UCF. The part of the process where Josh Heupel was responsible was top 10 in the nation. They had a guy who was a Biletnikoff award-winning candidate for best receiver in Marlon Williams. Quarterback Dillon Gabriel was among the better passers in the nation, despite having to face tougher defenses and a number of injuries on an offensive line. By the way, one of the teams on their schedule is now finished the season ranked 8th or somewhere like that. Listen, this was not it's the American Athletic Conference, it's a bad schedule situation, all right? Bobby will tell you all about the crappy teams that are in the ACC.
Listen, Notre Dame is not an ACC school.
I know they're not.
We barred them for a year.
But exactly. They're a mercenary that damn near won the conference, except Trevor Lawrence came back on the field. That's about it. They're Trevor Lawrence away from winning that division, or that conference, rather. That's my point.
They wouldn't beat North Carolina. Not a second time. But continue.
Yeah, you can keep dreaming on that. You may like Sam Howell, and that's great. They ain't beating Notre Dame. That's a fact.
It's hard.
You're making me back Notre Dame, Danny. Geez. Anyways, so with all that in mind, you asked if this is the right job for Heupel. From a business standpoint, it makes sense. He's been getting a ton of criticism with Danny White in the building, having to overcome a number of player opt-outs, off the field issues that had him lose a number of defensive starters, and he's getting all the blame for it. I don't know why exactly, but it's falling on him because head coach. That's the thing that's happened before. But now he'd be in a position where Danny White wouldn't be there, and probably one of the best PR guys in the nation wouldn't be there to support him. And if this team continues to fail based on the number of guys that have left, the transfer portal was a thing now, all that, whether they transfer because they heard the news of all these departures, or it's because they were actually frustrated with the program, we won't really know without being insiders. But what I will say is this. If Danny White did not succeed in the coming season, especially when they have Louisville and Boise State on the schedule, Boise State, by the way, being the home opener in September, he would have been fired for sure. Going to Tennessee, he's at least made it multiple years possibly for an opportunity to succeed, because no one's going to fire a coach after a probation year. Maybe he's thinking he can get better recruiting. Maybe he's thinking he can get better defensive support. And maybe at the end of the day, listen, Rocky Top's expectations aren't to win the conference. UCF's are.
It's really, really interesting when you look at how the dynamic of college football changes so much. And you mentioned the fact of UCF now is to the point where UCF, if you're not winning the conference, is a disappointment. I think that it's I'm not saying it's an unfair expectation, but it really comes to light about Josh Heupel. We mentioned Dylan Gabriel because he did have the Instagram message saying basically, bro, you're not going to tell us?
Yeah.
But as soon as that comes out, then the story that was seemed like it was buried when he was at Missouri comes out at the same time as well too with Drew Lock. Josh Heupel was the offensive coordinator at Missouri with Drew Lock on the staff, and then was talking about the playbook when he was going through his NFL process, saying how Heupel's playbook did not prepare for the NFL. He stayed an additional year because Heupel was gone. They brought a pro-style offense in. I wonder what Dylan Gabriel looks like in an offense that's a pro-style offense, depending on who comes in. Now, Kyle, if you're UCF at this point, like you said, and I want to say it was Marlon, I think one of the former UCF players was on Twitter saying, we've been through this before. The school's been through this before when a coach leaves and everybody follows right behind him. If they survived it the first time, they survived it the second time, I'm pretty sure they'll survive this one. But Kyle, we don't know you're going to a COVID year. Recruiting is still technically going on in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
You have no athletic director. You have no head coach. And like you just said, Heupel's taking the entire offensive staff with him. And I'll be honest with you, good riddance. Because to your point, Kyle, I don't know if UCF was going to win 8 games next year. If they played all 12, the way that the team looks so undisciplined, and that's the first time I've seen an undisciplined team on the field.
No, it's not. You're just forgetting about some of the stuff that happened under Frost because they won. There was plenty of undisciplined moments.
Yeah,
Let's not put this all on Heupel.
But Kyle, here's the thing though. It's discipline in winning, and like you said, discipline in losing. Okay, when you're not playing well and you're winning, like you said, it gets swept under the rug. You complain about it, but guess what? It's a victory. But when you lose and you're not disciplined, then like you said, it comes out. I wonder, Kyle, have you heard anything about who is in the search for the AD, and have you heard anything about the coaching situation UCF? Because that's huge.
Yeah, no, and really at this point, the only thing we know is that Randy Shannon is the acting head coach. They've named an acting athletic director, but at this point, there's not a whole lot of clear lines. I mean, I've heard everything in speculation from Gene Chizik to Gus Malzahn to Jamie Chadwell, who's the Coastal Carolina guy.
I like that.
What's that?
I actually like that. I would like that hire.
Well, I mean, without analyzing all the individual hires, it's funny. The UCF fan base gripes, bitches, moans, and complains about the fact that their coach got stolen again. And then the first words out their mouth is Jamie Chadwell. In other words, you want to steal a coach from another school right after you bitched about getting yours stolen. Welcome to the business. And listen, here's the thing that Group of 5 schools have to contend with. And yes, I'm going to find a way to blame this on the CFP committee and system. If it wasn't a situation where money is distributed to the Power 5 disparately, much like the playoff is, that we don't have this problem. I mean, another aspect as to why Danny White left, his salary was tripled. Heupel had a significant salary increase in himself. And oh, by the way, the two guys combined their buyouts to UCF, in other words, money Tennessee paid them, total nearly $6 million, an amount that, by the way, might cover the athletic program's shortfall from COVID in 2020. Damn. Okay.
You know what, Kyle, but maybe people like Jamie Chadwick and I think Hugh Freeze at Liberty, maybe they look into this job, and I will tell you why.
It is a good job, but yeah, keep going.
Because it's a good job, but Kyle, to your point, I don't want to say this and it sounds kind of bad, but UCF might be a stepping stone job. It is arguably probably the most elite school in the last 5 to 10 years that's not a Power 5 school. Okay, you're looking at like between them and Boise State. You could probably say BYU. Of the non-Power 5 schools, those are some of the best. And I'm going to say the most elite program. Cincinnati's getting there now. Cincinnati's been really good the last couple of years. I think one more good year, and they're going to be right there. Luke Fickell,
yeah,
they're going to be right there when it comes to the elite of the non-Power 5 schools, because now that's how we're going to have to break them down as. They're not, because they're just as good as any Power 5 school, but since they don't get the respect, we're going to make them the elite, the cream of the crop of the non-Power 5. UCF is right there, definitely the top 5 to 7 because of what they've done over the last few years. If you're a guy like Jamie Chadwick, Hugh Freeze, I guess there's some other coaches, that are looking, so like you said, step themselves in the right direction. If you're successful at Coastal Carolina, you're successful at Liberty, and you go to be successful at UCF, the first time the SEC pops off of one of those coaches, because 3-11, 3-9 ain't gonna work in the SEC with so long, and you're going to get that pay raise. Hell, I go to Central Florida. I'll pay no state taxes. I'll get 3 and 4 star Florida recruits, which are 5 stars pretty much anywhere else.
That's true.
And guess what? I'll win. I'll win big. I'll get on the national stage because guess what? Because Danny White made people pay attention to UCF. All those incidents with Paul Feinbaum on national television, Danny White was smart enough to do that because he drew attention to the university. On top, as long as they won, Danny White would go to bat for this university. It all worked together. Danny White went full-fledged WWE, WWF promo style, 1990s, by getting people to pay attention. The whole thing with Paul Feinbaum was brilliant. Feinbaum looked like an idiot on national television on a regular basis. Why?
He did that long before Danny White, but okay.
No, but here's the thing. Because Paul Feinbaum talked so much about the non-power fives,
yes,
that when Danny White jumped in the ring with him, he went full-fledged promo on him. People paid attention. UCF got attention not only on the field because Danny White made people pay attention to them off the field. Like you mentioned, Danny White went and got Johnny Dawkins to be the head coach. Okay, and the basketball program has been so much better ever since. Okay, it's smart. But if you're a head coach, you're thinking to yourself, I can go all that talent. I'm stuck in a place where I have a lot of talent. I can win. If I believe myself, I can win 9, 10, 11 games out there. Go win the American Conference once or twice. And guess what? When one of those Power 5 jobs open up, a really good one, because Tennessee, as bad as they've been, Kyle, like you mentioned, what kind of check were they cutting for them? They cut $6 million to get him out the contract. What is Josh Heupel making now? Probably twice he was making at UCF. You mentioned Danny White made 3 times more. These SEC schools, these Power 5 schools will pay. And look what Nebraska paid Scott Frost to get up out of UCF.
Oh, I know. That was insane.
To get his head kicked in the Big Ten with an offense that doesn't work in the Big Ten.
Right.
Because you don't have the athletes. They pay. I think you're right. Josh Heupel cashed out before his team goes 6-5 again. His stock goes.
Well, yeah, and I'll put it this way: you're saying they wouldn't win 8 games. I can't go that far, but what I would say is this:
but Kyle, 8 wins at UCF fandom right now, Kyle, is not the standard.
That's exactly where I was going.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. UC fans are delusional at this point. They're expecting now every year to be in the national conversation to make it to the playoff. First of all, a lot of them have not accepted the fact that the playoff is not happening for a G5 team. Stop it. Next, over and above now, they also expect to win the American Conference every year. It's funny. UCF wants everybody to believe that the American is tougher than you think, and when they don't win it, they're pissed. Hey, it's because you told people, they're better than you think. It's not like UCF played bad against Cincinnati either. Cincinnati is a darn fine team, but
they should have been in the playoff, by the way.
Well, that's a whole other question that I can't
Notre
really.
Dame.
Yeah, what
Notre
the heck?
Dame.
There we go. The piece that I can't quite get around is this. UCF fans need to be prepared for something, and I don't think we've really exercised this. You beat me to it, Mike. Hugh Freeze's contract, he got a significant extension. He's not going anywhere. It's funny. Jamie Chadwell in the pregame press conference actually made a joke about Hugh Freeze's contract when I asked him a question in what is it that Hugh Freeze brings to the game that he doesn't. But I digress. The punchline being this, though, gentlemen, with Randy Shannon placed at this point in the year in the process, UCF fans and the world need to be prepared for the fact that Randy Shannon, because he has a 1-year extension now, right, finishes out his contract as the head coach of this team, and the real search for the head coach of this program happens at that time.
Ill. All right. Kyle, speaking of things that are ill right now, as we transition, let me tell you what's ill right now. Uh-oh.
Oh, we got Bobby.
Real quick, I do have a connection to the Tennessee football staff. So hopefully I'll get some information. My guy who was on Pruitt's staff was retained by the college. He's still there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully I'll get some information. I'm trying to get him on even to my show to do an interview. But yeah, he was my guy I met a long time ago at the JUCO ranks, did some broadcasting for him. We're friends. So he survived the cut last week. So he's still there. So we'll see how he meshes it with the new staff, with your guys.
First of all, yeah, hey, congratulations to him. That's a tough situation. If you're able to hold on, that means you're really good at your job, or you got pictures of somebody.
Where he ended up, Pruitt?
They're talking about him with the Jazz, right?
Giants.
What?
Yeah, Giants hired him.
No, great.
Well, too bad the Giants can't be on probation. All right. Speaking of ill and rescued, since Pruitt was rescued, there's one guy in the NBA who needs to be rescued right now.
Oh, God.
It's Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards. Okay.
Free Beal!
Yes. I know I'm in the country where it's supposed to be free LaMelo Ball, but no, the guy who needs to be free is Bradley Beal. Kyle, Bradley Beal last night scored 47 points, Kyle, and the Wizards lost again. Kyle, this is the sixth time that Bradley Beal has scored 40 or more points and the Wizards have lost. The NBA's leader in scoring, Kyle, can't seem to win. I know his team was ravaged with COVID. We all know this. Russell Westbrook was traded the offseason to help soften the blow of John Wall and whatever situations in Washington. Kyle, at this point in the year, someone needs to rescue Bradley Beal because the sad part is Bradley Beal is so loyal, he's not going to ask for a trade. He wants to win Washington. Kyle, this is turning into Titanic super fast, and I love Bradley Beal. But Kyle, this might be the second year in a row, even though we might have it all together, we might not have one, that Bradley Beal be left off the All-Star team because no one's paying him attention. Kyle, the man's averaging 35.4 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists a game for the Washington Wizards. Kyle,
35.4 points. I mean, that applies here, I think. Listen, Kyle, man, you mentioned that the Wizards as a franchise are becoming the Titanic. Fool, they've been under the water. You're in the bathoscope under there trying to keep it, trying to, look through the lasers and get the grappling claws on the wreckage for some time. Yes, call 911. I mean, heck, one could argue that they're in a better state in the whole fiasco with Gilbert Arenas, but at the end of the day, they're still not a good franchise. And then they get Westbrook involved. Guys, has anybody learned that Westbrook is not going to get you where you want to go? Okay. And I'm supposed to be shocked this is happening? Listen, I know I'm the one learning the NBA right now, but damn.
Kyle, Bradley Beal's lowest point total in the game this season, Kyle, is 27.
I mean, aren't you making my point for me? We're working together, Danny Thompson.
Well, I'm saying, they actually won that game. They actually won that game.
Well, shoot.
Okay. Kyle, here's the sad part, Kyle. In the game, he scored 60 against Philadelphia. He shot 58% from the floor on 35 attempts.
That's amazing.
He hit 7 3-pointers and 86% from the line. Last night, Kyle, against New Orleans, he shot 17 of 37, Kyle. You still scored 47 points and took 37 shots and hit 46% of them. In the game, he scored 41 and they lost to Boston. He hit 55% of his shots. Kyle, long story short, he's averaging 35 points a game on almost 49% shooting, and he shoots over 7 3-pointers a game. Kyle, the sad thing is he won't ask for a trade. At this point, this reminds me of the GIF where the guy sees his cat stuck inside a store, and the cat comes to the door, and the guy goes to the door, and the guy goes, "I'm coming to rescue you. I'm coming to rescue you. I'm coming." Somebody has to go get Bradley Beal the cat out the damn store.
Well, first of all, stop her serving cats peanut butter and they won't get stuck because you saw a GIF, not a GIF. Anyways, I'm not going to let it slide, Danny Thompson. I'm not.
Listen. And the Wizards' losing streak is sliding as well, too. They're the worst team in the Eastern Conference. Kyle, here's the quick. Bradley Beal is the only player in the history of the NBA, Kyle, to average over 30 points a game and did not make the All-Star team.
Right.
He's at 35.4 right now, Kyle. He probably won't make the All-Star team. He should make it. I think the coaches will get him in I think the fans will get him as a starter because they got to feel sorry for him somehow.
Somebody does.
All I'm saying is this. So when people ask me, where's Bradley Beal going to go? Bradley Beal. Listen, it's been talk of Miami. Okay, his wife would love to go to Miami.
Who wouldn't?
Okay? No state taxes. You get to live in Miami and it's sunny 320 days a year.
I mean, you know.
And Bradley signed a big contract. So guess what? All that money that DC taxes are taking out, they get it right back in their pocket. All right. The real thing is they've been talking about, can we talk about the Rockets looking better? Well, I mean, you know what, Mike? I think DeMarcus Cousins being healthier is one thing. John Wall getting healthier, one thing. Jason Tate's been a surprise rookie from nowhere. They've been getting contributions everywhere, but don't think that PJ Tucker's not getting traded.
Say, boss, who are the people that the Rockets jettisoned again?
They sent Russell Westbrook for John Wall.
No kidding. Okay, then carry on.
They also traded James Harden.
I know, but details. I wanted. We didn't talk about Harden earlier. Don't mess up the rotation, boss.
But also,
man.
they also got Victor Oladipo in that trade too. So Oladipo is playing right now. So they changed their backcourt and watch. Houston's looking a lot better. About time. But when it comes to Bradley Beal destinations, okay, Laker fans, it's not happening. You don't have anything. You have nothing in the arsenal. Okay, it's not working. Miami is always a destination because Miami has young players and they can ship off a few things here and there. Don't think Bam Adebayo is going anywhere. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's hard to figure out where Bradley Beal is going to go because if you're Washington, you're not really trying to trade him in your own conference because that means Bradley Beal is about to kick your ass every time you see him. He's going to There's nothing worse than the guy that you trade, but there's also nothing worse than the guy who's averaging 36 points a game waiting on you.
He walks into the arena. How's your mama doing? Dunks on your face again.
No, it's high. Listen, it's basket, bucket. He might score 70, and when they win, he's going to cheese. Mike Patton asked for the Clippers trade for him. Look, here's the problem with the Clippers. All of Mother Hubbard's trading pieces are all gone. Okay, Lou Williams is still getting lemon pepper wings, but it's not going to work in DC. Okay,
lemon pepper Williams.
The Clippers don't have draft picks because they traded them all for Paul George. So if the Wizards wanted anything in the future, that's not the right place to go. Now, one team that is interesting.
Joint trade though, like who would be the party for a three-way trade there?
The one team that everybody needs to worry about. Watch the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets can throw Gary Harris. They can probably throw Bol. They can throw draft picks and have RJ Hampton. They can ship some of those young pieces off and not try, as long as they don't give up Michael Porter Jr. As long as they don't Michael Porter Jr. And if I'm even Washington, if Michael Porter Jr. is the asking price, I might even consider it because you put Jamal Murray next to Bradley Beal and Nikola Jokic, they're going to go chase the Lakers at that point. Hey, you know what, Mike? In the NBA, the Nuggets might need defense, but so does half the damn NBA.
I'm glad you said it.
Listen, the one thing Denver has, as long as the playoffs are not in the bubble, teams that got to deal with the mile high air. That's the one thing you have to deal with, and that's a difficult thing. Remember, nobody and teams haven't dealt with the mile high air in a while because they met last year with COVID.
With the bubble, good point, Danny Thompson.
Yes. Speaking of points, Kyle, we're gonna end the basketball talk because I'll talk basketball all night long because we'll forget about this topic. Well, yes. Kyle.
And I think I know where you're going because when you said talk about people needing to be freed.
Listen, yes, people need freed. Well, the Freedom Papers have been put in for Deshaun Watson.
Oh, God.
Deshaun Watson put in his official trade request, even though we all knew this was coming.
Am I allowed to laugh at that comment, Danny Thompson?
I mean, listen. The Free Deshaun Watson campaign is up there with the Free Randy Watson campaign. All right,
Randy Watson.
Yes, Randy Watson wants to be traded out of Houston. Hey, and you know what? Why not?
When I see him play, it is Sexio Chocolate, no question.
Listen. But here's the thing: Deshaun Watson controls where he wants to go because he signed the no trade clause. Now, Kyle, you're still wondering, he just signed his big contract. The Texans don't have to trade him. You're completely correct. They can go the full route of making him pull a Calvin Johnson because here's the Texans' benefit for not doing this.
Wait a minute. Are you implying they're going to make him retire? Is that what you mean?
Listen, if you don't trade him, Deshaun Watson's got to show up by week 6 and he ain't getting paid. And guess what? That whole entire year goes right to the next year. The Texans don't have to trade him. Remember that.
Oh, of course. As a matter of fact, I would argue their choice as coach implies that they want to keep him.
Listen, Deshaun. For those who missed the whole entire Deshaun Watson roller coaster, as you see at the bottom, Deshaun Watson was not happy with the GM search.
Among other things.
Well, that started the whole process. He was already mad. They traded his starting wide receiver, his all-pro, top 10 in the NFL overall player,
possible huge Hall of Famer.
Yes, the guy that basically grew with him on this roster. He helped turn into, I'd say, Kyle, one of the 10 best overall players, not receivers, overall players in the entire league.
Wow.
They traded Deshaun Watson away for an In-N-Out burger, 2 UGK mixtapes,
and a pack of Skittles.
No. And a Jeff Bagwell second-year card. Not his rookie card, his second-year card.
Oh, you went baseball. Gosh.
All right. They traded him for the 1990-1991 Houston Rockets Skybox basketball card set. That's what they traded Deshaun Hopkins.
They could at least thrown in some Fleer Ultra. Damn.
I went Skybox. Okay.
I heard you.
Computer graphics. Hakeem Olajuwon chased that thing down for months, for years as a child.
Here we go.
They traded DeAndre Hopkins for basically nothing. That started this whole process. On top of that, they made him play. Bill O'Brien, the guy that did all this, was let go and sent to the door. Okay. The Texans started playing well, and Deshaun Watson put up arguably, Kyle, if he was on any other team in the NFL, he would have been considered an MVP candidate.
True.
This man led the NFL in passing yards. Was 38 touchdowns, 7 picks on a team that was 4-12. Kyle, they were 4-12. Well,
I mean,
listen.
We also went over. I also went over this earlier with our good friend, the General Mike Patton, on my guest appearance with him on the Haps app. That offensive line hasn't been touched any time lately, except for Laramie Tunsil, who they gave up a ton of draft picks for, overpaid as the most expensive lineman in the division. Then over and above all that, he's the third highest paid defensive tackle in the league to lead the league in false starts. Oh, good.
So Deshaun Watson has all this foolishness to deal with. They fired Bill O'Brien, who basically allowed everything to go wrong. Then, in a new process, fired the GM. And you know what? You just paid Deshaun Watson $140 million. The most thing you could have done was call the guy that's running that's your signal caller to get his input on something. Deshaun didn't want complete control. He just wanted to be part of the process. If you're paying me $140 million to be your starting quarterback, at least have the decency to give me a phone call. But guess what? The Texans are going Texan. Okay? The Texan going Texan. They went out and hired a Patriots GM that no one knows. Then, in the whole process, basically fumbled and bumbled this entire coaching search.
And I mean, it's not like the Texans were a bad team. Like they won a playoff game, and now they're 4-12. Like, what a hell of a turnaround! All on the strength of the mistakes you made, and you didn't even had you maybe consulted your starting quarterback, it may not have gone quite as bad. One has to wonder, Danny Thompson.
Well, listen, they went out and hired, like I said, general manager was Nick Cassio, Nick Cesario, as new general manager, came from the Patriots tree, and Jack Easterby, Dennis Eckersley, but Jack Easterby, who's been called out by Andre Johnson, said, "Yeah, this is the foolishness that goes on." Well, the good news is the Texans hired a head coach. The good news is also he's a minority, which is fine. The bad news is this man's last time he was offensive coordinator, not assistant coach, offensive coordinator, was at UTEP in 1990. Okay, yeah, well. His UTEP offense was 5-17, Kyle, 5-17. All right, David Culley got a job, but Kyle, he was the quarterbacking coach for the 30th best passing team in the NFL last year.
Yeah, well, okay. First of all, be careful with numbers because at the end of the day, and the general there makes a good point of him joining a dumpster fire. The reason why that passing game was so low is because that team was being helmed by the best running quarterback in the NFL with one of the worst receiver corps in the league. In the words from a movie that you enjoy so much, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Okay.
Okay, listen, but Kyle.
So I'm about to back you here. Take a breath now. I'm about to be fam here. You just rest your pretty little head a second, okay? I got you, homie. but but
Okay.
this was also a coach that got replaced as a quarterbacks coach in Buffalo, to where one Josh Allen started improving when he left.
So
That's
Kyle,
what worries me.
yeah, well, and here's the thing, and I'm glad David Culley got a job. You know,
Sure.
you always want to see people succeed in the NFL, but to any person that said, "Why didn't Eric Bieniemy, Leslie Frazier, or other candidates, Jim Caldwell, not want to take this job?" Do you see what's going on in Houston? Like you said, Kyle, they trade Larry Tunsil for a whole bunch of draft picks they won't even see.
Exactly.
Miami controls all those draft picks. Deshaun Watson wants out. If I'm Eric Bieniemy, Leslie Frazier, no. Okay.
Let's be clear. You're like, why won't Houston hire a coach of color? Because
Well,
all the others said no. They eventually did.
With David Culley, I must say they did because the Ravens got 2 second-round picks, 2 compensatory picks for it.
Well, yeah, and good point about Greg Roman there, General. But hell, over and above the fact that that's the case, what weapons are in place? I mean, I like Kenny Stills too, but damn, you know.
Listen. So now David Culley is probably his first and only head coaching opportunity because guess what? We all know our minority head coaches, you only get one shot. And a lot of times, guys who actually did well don't get second shots. So your one and only opportunity is to take this dumpster fire that you're going to get. Well, Kyle, Deshaun Watson has now thrown his hat officially in I want out game of let's make a deal.
Yeah.
This week, we already know that the Lions have already told teams that them and Matthew Stafford are going bye-bye. Okay. Adam Schefter was on, I think it was the first take, not first take, but Get Up this morning, and they were talking about the coaches in the future.
Might as well be this first take, but I digress.
No, because Get Up is actually better than normal most mornings.
Listen, don't get me started on Mike Greenberg. Moving on.
Yeah, listen, but the show is I liked Foxworthy and Damian Woody when he's not talking about Tom Brady.
Fair.
All right, so Adam Schefter was on the show this morning, and he was talking about there's 10 quarterbacks right now in the NFL, Kyle, that are locked in to be starters next year.
Only 10 quarterbacks that are locked in.
Locked in with no recourse.
Of the 32, he's only got 10 locked in. That's interesting. Okay.
So now he said there's others. Now he mentioned the main guys. You're talking Mahomes, Jackson, Josh Allen, who else was on that list? Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow,
Lamar.
I missed L-Jack.
Did you say L-Jack? Okay, my bad.
Kyler Murray.
I was about to say him.
Who else? I think that was it.
Trubisky? No, wait.
No. You're right. He said that there was only 10. And he said Matt Ryan is more likely. Ryan Tannehill of Tennessee was another one.
And I think, like you mentioned before, because of his contract that Matt Ryan's locked into, I think
he said Matt Ryan is more likely going to be the starter. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and Daniel Jones in New York more likely will be the starter, barring it. Yes, that.
Thank you. I love that Bobby does that, even though that's his team. I respect that.
Kyle, Adam Schefter said over under on teams changing quarterbacks in the offseason is 18, and his thought is they're thinking they're going over. Kyle, do you think there might be
good call on Tannehill too, by the way, General. 18 different quarterbacks. So, okay. It's not necessarily a guarantee that Garoppolo's gone. It's not necessarily are they counting Jared Goff as a possible departure? Because
they put Jared Goff on the market. The Rams did this week.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, they did 2 days ago.
That's still. I mean, it's not as big as some other contracts that are out there, but
Goff is all guaranteed, though. That's the problem.
I agree.
Like Carson Wentz.
I agree. And then, let's throw Kirk Cousins in there while we're on the conversation too. Are they counting him as locked in? I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, I don't think you mentioned. I think Cousins was one he left off. Justin Herbert, Baker Mayfield. Those are the other two guys.
That's okay. But yeah, Baker's make or break is next year. If he does bad, then he is on the hot seat. I agree. Yeah, we mentioned. Did we get on? Rodgers isn't necessarily.
No, Rodgers is not guaranteed because Rodgers holds all the cards in Green Bay now.
Right.
He holds them all.
So, but that all being said, I'll put it this way. No, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that till you just said it. I really wish you had mentioned that earlier. I'd had a much more set up point of view. When something like this comes up, you tend to notice that the pendulum doesn't swing quite as far. But when the number is 18, that's still a lot of change.
That's almost 2/3 of the entire league, Kyle. I mean, listen. They're always listen. We've learned if Al Horford can get traded in the NBA, anything's possible.
Hey, if Brandon Tate can get a big ass contract from the Texans, that part of the things that weighs them down about as bad as Laramie Tunsil, anything is possible. By the way, quick shout to the general. I was wondering if Jared Goff would be somebody who could excel on the market. I mean, hell, if Cam Newton can't find a job, how is Goff going to do it? But I mean,
if you think about it like this, if we go division by division, we all know Josh Allen in the AFC East isn't going anywhere. Right. Very simple.
Right.
Okay, he's locked in. People consider him maybe a top 5 quarterback in this league going into next season. Okay. We all know New England's in transition because Cam Newton's gone.
Sure.
The Jets, we don't know what the hell the Jets are doing because we don't know if they're going to believe in Sam Darnold. Because if they go wide receiver and Devontae Smith at 2, or they go offensive lineman, they believe Sam Darnold's their guy.
With Fields, with Justin Fields' stock plummeting, it's probably more likely Darnold's the guy, but it's still volatile. I agree. You can't consider that a lock.
Don't sleep on Zach Wilson going number 2 though.
Stop it.
No,
okay.
Exactly. All the mock drafts I'm reading have the Jets. Martin, the guy from BYU.
Yeah,
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson. Yeah,
he's good, but that's a mistake. I truly hope that they don't do that.
It's the Mitchell Trubisky theory. No, Trubisky had a great senior year at Carolina. He went flying up the draft boards ahead of Deshaun Watson.
First of all, let's be clear. The Bears don't know what a quarterback is because the best Bear quarterback in franchise history is Jay Cutler. Okay, just check the numbers. Other than him, it's Sid Luckman. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is this: you could have that situation pop up. I mean, the Jets are capable of that kind of mistake in their front office.
So the Dolphins, Flores says that Tua is the guy. But I don't know it until we see what the 3rd pick happens. If they keep the pick, we don't know. Like I said, I've seen coaches say worse. You go to the NFC North.
Sure.
Jackson's locked in. Burrow's locked in.
Yes.
Okay. You don't know about Ben Roethlisberger.
Good call, Alex. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because Ben Roethlisberger has a $41 million cap situation that he's saying he's willing to work with the team, a.k.a. don't cut me, please. Don't cut me, please. All right.
Hey, you know what, General? You tell him. And while you're there, tell him it ain't Matt Nagy's fault that the team's offense didn't do as well. I mean, the dude was a coach of the year, and then suddenly you want to stick him with Trubisky when the smoke and mirrors is gone. Tell him all.
Baker
Come
Mayfield,
at me, bro.
After what Baker Mayfield did, like you said, Kyle, it gives Baker Mayfield another full year. Okay.
You're right.
In the division you and Mike Patton talked about earlier tonight, Tennessee's locked in.
Yes.
With Ryan Tannehill.
That's right.
Okay. Houston's quarterback is out the door.
That's right. That's literally the definition of volatility.
Jacksonville.
I was about to say, would you say that Sunshine's a lock? Are you counting that a locked-in situation?
They already got the jerseys made. They can't sell them yet.
So the answer is yes. Gotcha.
Urban Meyer will be fired. It'll be the first head coach in the NFL history that get fired before his first game if he went anywhere other than Trevor Lawrence. All right, Trevor Lawrence is going to sell tickets. He's from Georgia. All right, it's the most guaranteed first overall pick I can't remember since Michael Vick. Okay, it's almost guaranteed. All right. So you look at Trevor Lawrence, that's going to be, but Jacksonville's new quarterback, so you can't say that. All right. Houston's quarterback is out the door, and Indianapolis' quarterback retired.
Yes.
That's 3 right there in the division.
Which, by the way, side note, anybody who's trying to tell me that Matt Stafford is a fit in Indy, stop it. They need a mobile quarterback, not a stationary one.
And you got to think the only quarterback on that Colts roster is Eason because Brissett's a free agent.
Correct.
AFC West. Mahomes he's battling for GOAT status.
He's $500 million man. Stop it.
He's fighting for GOAT status. Nah. All right. The Raiders, listen, as good as Derek Carr has been, if Gruden can upgrade, don't think he won't upgrade.
I don't think he's going to here because he's kind of in cap hell, and I don't think people are willing to take some of those contracts that he has. It's business that's keeping Derek Carr safe. Let's be clear.
Okay. Now here's the other part. Justin Herbert's not going anywhere because I think that the Chargers believe in Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert made me a believer. So that's good enough.
Me too.
The Drew Lock experiment is over.
Bye.
Because here's the thing. Denver knows, especially now Elway's not running the show, basically, as GM, that a quarterback will be the difference between them being where they are and being a playoff team that can contend.
Correct.
They're a quarterback away because they got all the weapens on offense. Their defense is still good.
Jerry Jeudy putting up numbers even though Drew Lock is his quarterback is all you need to know, bro.
Listen, if Matthew Stafford went to Denver, for example, Stafford will put up numbers out there. All right?
I've heard worse plans.
No, that's just an option. I'm just giving you a name out there.
No, so I'm saying I like it.
Yeah. So now we've done the entire AFC. Let's switch over to the NFC. In the East, like you said, Daniel Jones, I don't see the Giants coming up off him yet because it's the Giants. All right. Washington, Alex Smith is for as great of the story it is.
Yeah, he's not the
answer. He's not the answer.
Right.
Dallas with Dak Prescott, we don't know what that situation is. Because with so many quarterbacks on the market, here's the thing. You can trade for Matthew Stafford, who's from Dallas, by the way, and not have to pay Dak Prescott $37 million a year because guess what? Stafford's on the books for only $43 million over the next 2 seasons.
What, but Stafford's going to take a pay cut? I mean, come on. Here's the thing.
No, Stafford's not taking a pay cut. He's in the contract, so you trade for him.
No, what I'm saying is, well,
you trade for him.
Maybe.
Because you save the cap space that you have to we franchise and Dak at this point.
No, I forgot it would be that situation where it'd be a trade and that he's not a free agent. That's on me. Yeah, no, okay, I can be sold.
Okay, Philadelphia's quarterback fired the head coach, and they hired somebody. I still can't figure out who he is. No, obviously, Jalen Hurts should be fighting for this job, but since Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz, they chose first time in history they chose quarterback over Super Bowl winning coach. Pearson's out the door. Wentz is the quarterback, but listen, Wentz ain't healthy long enough. So Eagle fans, Hurts might be in before we realize it.
Hey,
Aaron Rodgers.
There's a reason why Jalen Hurts isn't getting traded, and if I'm the Colts, by the way, I would trade for him, and that's because they know Carson Wentz. There's a reason why Matt Schaub was on the Atlanta Falcons roster for so long, even though they had Mike Vick. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Matt Schaub. All right.
Hey, dude, he was a great backup when he was called upon with that team. Don't you spit on him as a Falcon fan. How dare you, sir? He may not have amounted to much after that. Maybe he's currently the second best quarterback in Texan history. That's possible. But don't you dare take away from what he did for the Falcons. He helped you rise up when Vic was down.
Yeah, but you saw how much money we paid him when he first got there. That's why we had to go get Michael Vick.
That's not the point, Danny Thompson.
That is the damn point. All right.
Your face is a point. That doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry.
Exactly. I'm wearing Packer yellow, but Aaron Rodgers holds all the cards. Very simple. Well, Aaron Rodgers is supposed to meet with the front office. If Aaron Rodgers says, "Get me out of here," and if he gets public with it, hi San Francisco. Okay.
That would be awesome. I mean, what? No, Danny Thompson, that would never happen. He said unbiasedly.
Yes, as he spends his off season in the Bay Area. That's all I'm saying.
You're terrible, Danny Thompson. Now I sound like a homer.
Okay.
And by the way, the team has shown that they're pretty hot for Jordan Love because reasons.
Listen, because you traded up in the first, back in the
first.
Yeah,
I did bring up pick six Matt Schaub. General, hold on, let me get this. Because before he was pick six Matt Schaub, he's one of the best backups in the NFL. Come at me, bro. Hashtag history.
He had one game and got paid.
He had more than one game.
Kyle, that one game got him paid. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Oh, well, no, you want to talk about – hold on. It's not fair to say that about Matt Schaub because he had more than one good game. And you're going to talk about one game and he got paid. Matt Flynn called. He said, hold my beer. Yeah. Anyways.
All I'm saying is back to the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers called the shots. We all know about the situation with Matthew Stafford. He's out the door. The Bears are the Bears. I'm assuming if a quarterback's available, Mr. Trubisky's gone.
Of course. God, but
okay.
Hey, don't trust the Bears to do the right thing. I'm saying.
And the Vikings have guaranteed money behind Kirk Cousins. Okay.
I don't know what to make of that. It's not so much. Yeah, because no other team's going to pick up that contract. You're correct. That's
all guaranteed. You cut him, you got to pay him.
Correct.
NFC South. Atlanta is still Matt Ryan because that number is huge.
It is.
But don't think Atlanta won't take a quarterback. Please, God, for all sakes, don't take one. But
Breeze is retiring. You got volatility all up in
Breeze is retired.
Right. Like, we still don't know who the next guy in line is going to be. They could draft somebody. Hell, I don't know.
because they damn sure ain't trading for nobody.
Right.
The Buccaneers situation is still fluid because if Tom wins next Sunday in that Super Bowl, I think Giselle's calling divorce papers if he goes back.
And honestly, if he doesn't, it's not a guarantee either, man.
Listen,
Like for all the people who declared GOAT love that day, I think that was enough for him based on certain things I've seen on social media. I've been wrong about Tom Brady before.
Brady wants to play his 45. I don't know.
I've heard that too. You know,
he might finish on the contract. Who knows?
I could change my mind on this opinion by the next Monday show too. Who knows?
Exactly. So last team, so you talk about Carolina and Teddy Bridgewater. Carolina will go get a quarterback if Fields falls to Carolina at 8. Don't think they won't be running to the podium to go get him.
Oh yeah, hell's no. And Trask is an interesting thought, but
Atlanta's not taking Trask at 4. There's no way in hell unless they move down.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, there you go, Danny Thompson. You said it very eloquently.
They better take Micah Parsons, damn it. That's all I'm telling you right now.
Hey.
No quarterback can tackle. Okay.
Listen, all I'm saying is if they don't, you're going to expect to get a hug from me via text. I'm just saying.
Listen, if they don't take Michael Parsons and he's not hurt, I'm going to have a meltdown on the show. That's all I'm telling you now. All right. Teddy Bridgewater in Carolina, it's very simple. If the quarterback's available, I can see it happening. I hate you, Pat. Last but not least, NFC West. Look at the West. Kyler Murray's not going anywhere.
Nope.
Russell Wilson's not going anywhere. This division might have to be outside of the NFC North. This might be the most stable division among quarterbacks. Okay.
Not surprising, actually.
Now, mind you, Jared Goff has now been put on the trading block because he's 18-13 since they made the Super Bowl. Like y'all expect anything better. And then you have San Francisco's Jimmy Garoppolo situation. He's not even guaranteed next year. The 49ers are just lying and waiting. And I guarantee you, they're not afraid to throw Arsenal to go get a quarterback.
As we've seen, right? I mean, shoot. I mean, and as a side note, John Lynch is not disappointed as a GM. Like, listen, y'all already shafted him out of the Hall of Fame for far too long. He's going to try to get in there as a GM at this rate. I'm just saying.
All I'm saying is the 49ers, if I can see who can pull off a trade, the 49ers might be one of the ones to go do it. The 49ers can go get Deshaun Watson, and I think they'll give up the Arsenal to go get him if they have to.
Is it hot in here?
I think they go for Aaron Rodgers. They got to. Hell, I even think they even get Matthew Stafford. If the price is right, they'll go get Stafford.
I'm sorry. Is it warm in here? What are you keep talking about all these good quarterbacks in San Francisco?
But what I'm saying is the 49ers are at the point where, and you know what? If they wanted to, they can open the checkbook up for Dak Prescott if they wanted to.
I don't know if they're going to do that.
Listen,
I think John Lynch is a little too responsible to pay that much money for Dak.
No, but the thing is, Dak Prescott would get you guys right back to the NFC Championship game at minimum.
I'm not convinced of that.
I'm convinced. Listen, Dak Prescott works well with weapons. Dak Prescott you saw what he has. And he also has made guys money at wide receiver. The
49ers receiver core is at that point where you can declare he has weapons.
I'll tell you this. George Kittle will make those receivers weapons. George Kittle alone.
Until he misses a few games. I'm not saying he's injury prone, but he's going to a few times every year. Call it Gronkism if you want.
But you remember, though, Kyle Shanahan is a master of working. One thing Kyle Shanahan can do, except for call plays in the damn Super Bowl, is that Kyle Shanahan can coach a hell of a game that's not in the damn Super Bowl. All right? I think, Kyle, we both can say this. Or he can call a hell of a game as long as it's not the Super Bowl.
And the Super Bowl wasn't that bad. You keep forgetting the part where he was up on the Chiefs for 3.5 quarters until Patrick LeVon Mahomes went all Patrick LeVon Mahomes. Listen, this guy is a $500 million quarterback.
You talking about me. I saw my offense with my MVP quarterback go up 28-3, and we went conservative. Okay.
Well, I mean, now if you want to put that on him, fine, but he wasn't the head coach at the time.
He was the one calling the damn plays.
That's fine. All I'm telling you is we didn't have that problem.
Listen, all I'm saying is Kyle Shanahan in that game situation is not the guy you want. All I'm saying is the weapons they have over there, you give Brandon Ayuk got better as the season going along. Deebo Samuel started getting healthy towards the season. Kyle, you got to do this. If they run that read option or have Samuel come in motion for those quick passes, Dak will hit those passes all day long.
It's a good point that you bring that up. What I notice is the more the Cowboys' awesome line deteriorated with age and injury, so too did Dak's play.
That's called Ezekiel Elliott not running the damn football.
Oh, and I was about to include him in there. The Niners' O-line has issues staying healthy on a regular basis. I'm wondering if Dak could overcome that. It's an interesting. I'll put it this way: with all the options that are out there, Dak needs to be third or fourth on the list.
No, because the thing is, if you go get Dak, that means you could take the whole draft, Kyle.
Third or fourth on the list.
Kyle, all I'm saying is, listen to me, Kyle. This is my point here. If you know Dak Prescott's your guy and the guy you're going to go after, here's the thing. You take the first 3 rounds, Kyle, and you go get your favorite thing to get, beef. You go get nothing but USDA grade A choice offensive linemen.
It's what's for dinner.
And guess what? It's going to be you got to think all the offensive line with all those running backs and Dak Prescott time. The 49ers will just maul you the entire year.
That is a great point. They'll do to everybody what they did to the Packers in the championship game last year. Excellent point by you, Danny Thompson.
That's what I'm saying. If I know that I'm about to pay Dak Prescott a crap ton of money, I'm going to make sure my investment, because the 49ers do this. Some teams don't do this. Okay, you're going to spend a whole bunch of money, and guess what? You don't put the right things behind them. All I'm saying is, you do those things. Remember, I mentioned Miami earlier. If Miami can go get Deshaun Watson, don't think that they won't give Tua up from Deshaun Watson. Don't you think they won't trade Tua? Tua will be the first thing out that piece.
Tua in San Francisco, fool. I said it. No, I'm kidding.
Nah, I know, because
that's not going to happen.
Because San Francisco could end up with Matt Ryan.
You think they'd take that contract? I get the coach relation, so don't bother explaining that.
Because Matt Ryan would leave.
Do you think John Lynch would take that contract? That's my question.
If you believe that Matt Ryan can get you to the Super Bowl, yes. And I think Matt Ryan with that offense, yes, it's not Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, but here's the other part. Matt Ryan doesn't have to throw 65 times a game because his damn defense can actually stop people. Matt Ryan goes back to being a play-action quarterback that only throws when he needs to because he has a solid running game and a defense that can tackle. Matt Ryan and that type of – it's the same offense he had. The only thing different is Julio Jones isn't catching passes. That's okay. Julio Jones, meet George Kittle. What Matt Ryan did down the sidelines, George Kittle's going right down the middle of the field. Yeah. It's another unstoppable piece. And you got to think, if Kyle Shanahan had Matt Ryan, I guarantee you George Kittle is playing more of a wide receiver tight end style, like a Travis Kelce that stands up the majority of the game at wide receiver instead of being down in the 3-point stance than he is in the 3-point stance like he is now.
Maybe. I feel like the Niners run the ball way too effectively for that.
But Kyle, because here's the thing. You're going to take the risk on Aaron Rodgers if you have the opportunity. He's older than Matt Ryan. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I think it's this. The Niners are a solid quarterback away from being literally in the NFC Championship game next year. They have everything else. Provided
the whole goddamn defensive line doesn't get crushed in injury and half the world doesn't end up in the MASH unit and all that.
But you know what, though? But Kyle, here's the part about it. If the Niners had solid quarterbacking play, even with all the issues on the defense, they would have made the playoffs this year.
I mean, they did still win some games, to your point.
Kyle, they would have won a few. Those games that Jimmy G threw them out of them last year because Jimmy G couldn't hit water half the time last season.
Because he was still hurt.
Because he couldn't hit. Listen, for whatever reason it was, Kyle, you put Matt Ryan, you swapped them out, for example. You swapped Matt Stafford with this team last year. The Niners were in the playoffs. The Niners caused damage in the playoffs because, Kyle, in the playoffs, as we all know, defense will win you games. The Niners will play defense.
Yes, they will.
And they'll take the ball away. It's very simple. That's why the Niners could always keep up Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray because they have the weapons on defense to do so. All they need is a quarterback. Washington's the same way. The Washington football team. If I had a chance to trade for Deshaun Watson, I surely would. If I had a chance to go get Dak Prescott, if I'm Washington, I would cut the check for Dak Prescott. I surely would.
What about Matt Stafford with the Red Tails?
I surely would. Any of those quarterbacks, I would go after with not a problem. If I've got Detroit saying they're trying to get a first rounder for Stafford, Washington's picking in the late part of the first round. If Matthew Stafford's healthy, Kyle, do they have a chance? Do you think they have a chance to win that game against Tampa in the playoffs?
No, not with Stafford at the helm. And part of it was the fact that defense was completely unprepared for what that quarterback was bringing.
Here's the thing. The Red Tails would have been a lot better than the record would have seemed, and they might not have been the 4 seed. They might have been the 3 seed.
Now that is a worthwhile point.
teams like that need to go make the quarterback change. But Kyle, we're over on time tonight, Kyle, as usual.
We are. That was an awesome show tonight, Danny Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, and we still missed topics that we didn't get to. Yep. But check us out on the 3pointconversion.com. Check us out on I-95 and Zingo Television. Like I said, me and Kyle will always have work between all those places. You guys have a wonderful weekend. I know up here it's supposed to snow over the weekend. Growl. Kyle, any shout-outs before we go, sir?
First of all, shouts out to the commenters, Rodney, the General Mike Patton, among others that came in to weigh in. Thank you. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at the SOTG, Instagram, all the same as in the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. And I've not taken the time to learn his first name because he's not worthy of it, frankly. The former Seattle Seahawk Wheeler who beat his girlfriend and was surprised she was still alive after the fact. Send his ass to jail, please. Thank you. Danny Thompson.
Bobby, shout-outs before we go, sir? If I hear a New York Yankees thing comment from his mouth, I'm going to say something. Bobby, shout-outs? Going once? Going twice? Like the Yankee season? Sold to nothing. All right. Oh, Bobby's it. Bobby got it the last second.
Nah, my surprise isn't ready yet. Next week.
Oh God!
By the way, no comments about your owner and his insider trading with the GameStop stuff.
Listen. I'm not at liberty to comment on that right now. Okay.
I'm actually literally waiting for more things to come out before.
Listen, all I'm saying is it's not. Listen, we don't know anything about insider trading with GameStop. It's just rumored. It's rumored, and it has nothing to do with the Mets payroll because we're about to go sign Trevor Bauer sometime this week. It has nothing to do with our payroll.
I'll say it this way. Leave it to something with more financial corruption involving something called the SEC. Granted, it's not the conference, it's the Stock Exchange Commission, but nonetheless, the SEC is involved with fiscal
all I know is Robin Hood has got a class action suit because people can't trade stocks on Robin Hood for GameStop anymore because it basically has gone through the roof.
There's more to it than that, but we'll take that off.
Listen, Bobby, listen. Because my owner's got more money than yours, don't attack my owner.
You're gonna be in jail soon. Who are you kidding?
No, that was the Madoffs. Okay, my owner can buy you. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
All right.
My owner can buy your owner twice over.
Owner can buy your owner. Oh
by the way, Brooklyn, what? 3 in a row? Brooklyn?
It was 3 in a row tonight.
Well, no, they won last night. I mean,
Bobby, listen. We're talking about We're talking about Brooklyn in January. Let's talk about winning 3 in a row in. Yes, I know.
I thought that was a Red Sox hat.
Oh, oof.
Got him!
Wow. Kyle went full-fledged baseball Hall of Fame writers on Kurt Schilling all of a sudden. All right, shout out to everybody who was in the chat tonight. Mike, of course, in general. Check out his show on Haps. Kyle had his on Haps last week. Hopefully we'll see him this week as well, too.
Yes,
big shout outs to Rodney, always in the chat for saying what he says best and trolling. Check out Under Construction on Sundays. Big shout outs to him. Also, my main man, Alex Fleming. Check them out. Yes. Check out his work everywhere. I think he's still at Florida Sun, as well as the Magic Perspective show that they've dropped, him and Eric Wilson on Facebook, and also the Sports Arena. Yes, Bobby.
What is the Danny and Ronnie dish show that me and Kyle are going to kind of co-manage?
Why are we doing this? It's like North Carolina and Clemson basketball. We already know what's going to happen.
Oh, shit.
It'll be entertaining. On the air.
Clemson didn't win against Chapel Hill for damn near 54 years. Okay, it took them. They've only won one time, so that means Rodney's only winning one argument.
Well, maybe it's different topics.
Once again, Rodney's winning one topic.
Listen. At the end of the day, Bobby, if you make this happen, I will volunteer to judge that event.
Listen,
listen. A long, boring winter after Super Bowl next week.
Listen, oh God, here we go. All I'm saying is no one wants to watch this will be the equivalent of Floyd Mayweather fighting like Jake Paul. We don't want to see this.
Damn, you didn't even give him Conor McGregor status.
Oh no, this is like Jake Paul. All right, as I was saying before, Bobby came through with his crazy analogy. Big shout out to Alex Fleming. Check them out on the Sports Arena as well as the Magic Perspective podcast. Always a big fan of the show. Good way to catch up with those guys. I was with them last week with the Magic and the Hornets. Also, big shout outs to Precious and everybody else in the chat I did not mention tonight. So stay safe, guys. It's still COVID outside. And here's the most important thing. if we wanted to be able to enjoy sports, because baseball's coming around the corner, we also, Kyle, speaking of sports, if you are a fan of sports right now, Fox Sports is changing their name, and NBCSN is also going in the crapper. Yes. Letting you know, guys, know now, next couple of weeks, Fox Sports is changing their name to Bally Sports. It was reported by Sports Business Journal the other day. All the regional sports networks will be changed to now Bally Sports. If you're in the Carolinas or in the Tennessee area, your channels have been clipped. Happy trails. If you're a Predators fan, the Nashville Predators will now go to Bally Sports Southeast. Hornets and the Hurricanes will be going to Bally Sports South. This sounds so freaking weird. Bally Sports.
I just work here, dude.
It's a sports betting company. They pay naming rights.
Oh my.
All right. Huh?
Oh my. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yes.
$1 million. Thank you.
It was actually $85 million they paid for the naming rights.
$85 million.
Guys, that means we got work to do, baby, because we're open for business. Let's get that check.
Listen, have Sinclair call me. Have your people call my people, Sinclair. All right. So
let's get out of here, man. We're 10 minutes over. Damn.
So myself, Bobby, Kyle, and everybody in the chat, we'll see you guys on Monday night for Beyond the Buzzer, 9 p.m. here on Facebook Live, YouTube, as well as I-95 Zingo Television. We'll check you guys on Monday. Peace.